Here in 2.8, we're going to be talking about vertical angles, our object for today. Recognize opposite rays, recognize vertical angles. Opposite rays are two collinear rays that have a common endpoint and extend in different directions. If I were to draw CAB, we would say that AB, ray AB, and ray AC are opposite rays. Okay, and they share A here. If I were to draw something like these are not opposite rays. Alright. Or if I was to draw something like MATH, math. Ray TH and ray AM are not opposite rays. TH is here, different color. TH is here, AM is here. They don't share, they don't have or share a common endpoint. Vertical angles. So vertical angles are the rays forming the sides of one and the rays forming the sides of the other are opposite rays. If the two angles are vertical angles, then they are congruent. So if I were to draw a diagram, and so labels 1, 2, 3, and 4, then I could say angle 1 and angle 3 are vertical angles. And angle 2 and angle 4 are vertical angles. Alright, so we're going to look at this one and how we proved it in section 2.4. We're given the diagram, and we need to prove that angle HFE is congruent to angle GFE, or GFJ. So I'm going to write these. Angle HFE is congruent to angle GFJ. A little hard to read there. Okay. So, we have statement, we have reason. Okay, the first thing that I can tell from the diagram is that EFG is a straight angle. Okay. And we assume this from the diagram. Alright, next. If The second thing that we can look at then, since we know EFG is a straight angle, we can state that angle HFE and angle HFG are supplementary. So we have HFE and HFG that form this straight angle. And that reason there is if two angles form a straight angle, then they are supplementary. Alright. Third, we can assume from the diagram that angle HFJ HFJ is a straight angle. And the reason for that is the same as number 1. So you can write same, number 1. And then the two angles that make that up, like in number 2, angles HFG and angle GFJ are supplementary. And our reason is same as number 2. Alright, and finally, then, we have angle HFE being congruent to angle GFJ because HFE is congruent to angle GFJ because they are both supplementary to HFG. So if two angles are supplementary to the same angle, then they are congruent. Alright, last, we were given that ray NE bisects angle RNK. And we need to prove that angle 3 is congruent to angle 4. So here's where we're going to assume vertical angles. That vertical angles are congruent. So we set up statement and reason as R. First, ray NE bisects angle RNK. That's given. And that means ray NE bisects RK, which makes angles 1 and angle 2 congruent. 1 and 2 congruent. Okay. Okay, so as I said, angle 1 is congruent to angle 2. And that is if a ray bisects an angle, then it divides into 2 congruent angles. Alright, then number 3, alright, we want to prove 3 and 4 are congruent. So I'm going to look at angle 2 here. Angle 2. I'm going to look at it being congruent with angle 3 because they share that vertex and they're vertical. So angle 2 is congruent to angle 3. And that's if two angles are vertical angles, then they are congruent. Okay, and then we can state that angle 1 is congruent to angle 4 by the same token. Angle 1 and angle 4 are vertical there. Same as number 3. And finally, angle 3 is congruent to angle 4 by the transitive property shown in steps 2, 3, and 4. So, if 1 is congruent to 2, and 1 is also congruent to 4, that means 2 is congruent to 4. And then if 2 is congruent to 3, and 2 is congruent to 4, then that means 3 is congruent to 4.